Good morning. We have a roof.
We have a hard top, which is really nice. It's kept the condensation out of the cockpit, so it's dry down here. But I just went up on the cabin top thinking the whole boat's dry, and it's not. So I got soggy socks.
Hi, we are Erica and Davy, an adventurous, slightly crazy couple who has taken on the challenge that is a hurricane-damaged catamaran. We have come so far. Subscribe to our channel to follow our journey. Take a chance. You never know how perfect something may turn out to be.
So I'm going to work on the sides and a little bit of fairing while everything dries off this morning. Joey's supposed to be coming back this morning as well, so he's going to start. Didn't he say he was going to start tacking together the little seat we got, the bench, the love seat as we've been calling it?
And do the measurements for
the smaller piece of hardtop. But anyway, I'm going to make use of the morning before he turns up, and while the boat's still damp on the top. So I'm going to get cracking with a couple of other bits. Probably won't get it all done because this is going to take some attention from me today as well, but might as well get going with some of it.
It's so different. There's a little bit of an issue here.
It's not an issue, it's just an adjustment.
It's just an adjustment with the stainless. I think some of these poles might be in the wrong spot slightly, which will then push the forward down.
Yeah. Well, it was getting late in the day. Everyone wanted to go home. It was Friday afternoon, we got it up, so we said we'd do the adjustments today. So that's what we're doing.
But at least it's up. I'll show you underneath the boat in a minute. There's so much space. We can have like a dance party down there. It's gonna be great. We can put the new dinghy underneath the boat so it's nice and protected from the sun. Overall, we're seeing forward visual progress. There's so much space.
There's so much space down here now.
We can have like a dance party.
Does feel good to tidy up. Feels like the goal's getting closer, eh?
Okay, so not a lot has changed since we showed you painting of the sides. As we were working on the hardtop. But Davy's plan this morning is to do a little bit of fairing on the sides where we have some of those imperfections.
Nothing wrong with it.
Huh?
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, there is. I can see a gap. Go up again. A bigger gap.
So small. It's not where the cross is though, it's there.
Yeah, it's lower.
Well, that's good. That means it's going to be quick to fix.
Yeah. I think this side, mainly, it was that one where you are there.
I think there was some there.
There was some up there. But also you said that when you were sanding it back, you
I
got
managed
rid
to
of
knock
a lot.
it back because I think the boys that were helping us in Lucron, I don't think they sanded it back enough, and plus we didn't have time. So
Yeah, we were rushing.
I think a lot of it, to be honest, when I was doing the prep, I think I've already righted a lot of it up.
Yeah. I know there is one up here at the bow. You can see those X's. I think there is an area in there. But again, this is one of the reasons why we've decided to go with the flat gray color paint, because it does hide some of those imperfections. It's not your glossy typical finish. So as long as we get them close, the paint should help.
Do that bit.
I know in our videos so far on the hard, we've been using a lot of Total Boat products. So far, we are super pleased. Tic Tacs in there.
Davey likes Tic Tac.
So far, we are super happy with the Total Boat products. However, there is some differences to what it says on the labels. With our channel, we do like to promote good products and products that we use and how we use them. We like to show the truth behind them. So starting this segment with the wet edge topside paint. So it goes on really, really nicely. However, with wet edge, with any Total Boat product, you want to think thin. Thinner is better. And with the wet edge, we were going really, really thin. So on the tin, it says you should do 2 to 3 coats minimum. on this back section of the boat, I have done 4, and I'm even considering doing a 5th coat because maybe we are going a little bit thinner than recommended. But with going that thin, we don't have to do the tipping aspect. We can just roll it on, make sure there's no roller marks, and it looks fantastic. But it definitely does take a few more coats. And when you go thin, it does actually dry really, really quickly, which is nice. If you go on probably thicker, the way that they say on the tin, it will take a lot longer to dry. So thin is your friend. Another thing with the wet edge that we found, so on the tin it says that you can do 350 to 400 square feet per gallon. I have done so far 4 coats on the back section. I have done 3 coats on the front section underneath the boat, and we've barely used half a gallon. We've ended up getting 5 gallons because the surfaces that we were going to paint was going to be 630 square feet per coat. I'm a little bit nervous that we're going to have a lot left over because we have done a good chunk of the sections and we've only used half a gallon so far. Again, that goes to the fact that we have been putting it on thin. Do you have anything to say about the total fare?
Total fare, good product. It's epoxy based as well, which is fantastic. It's always better to use epoxy based rather than a polyester based. But it definitely takes a while to dry, but it says that in the instructions. It's not as easy to sand as some other fillers that I have used, but it is sandable. I don't want to give an honest good opinion of this until I've actually done some of the thin skim coats like I'm going to do here on the side and actually see how it performs there. So I'm going to give more of an update on that after I've worked on the hulls.
Wow, well that didn't take much time at all, did it?
No, this total fare really does lay out nicely, that's for sure. It comes nicely off the trawl. I wish I had a longer fairing board.
Like we used to?
Yeah, like we used to. Unfortunately, Greg's got those and he couldn't make it down for this this yard period, so...
Greg.
That's not Greg's fault. He offered to send them in the post, but I said it wouldn't make do. So the smaller one that I'm using, it's good enough, but I'm going to have to do a little bit of extra sanding on it. So anyway, that's good. That's the first 3 spots, which is... Oh, sorry, 4 spots, which covers this side then. Let's move around to the other side before it starts to get too hot and see if we can patch them up as well.
How's that? That's gotta feel good. Fairing could be possibly done today.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Fairing and sanding, fairing and sanding.
Going good. 1 second. Sorting this board out.
Now your sanding days are really numbered.
Oh, I hope so. So in the areas where we're putting on the underwater lights, and we're actually putting on double the amount this time. So instead of having it here, which kind of points straight out, and every time there's a little wave, it points out on over the ocean. So we decided to put one here, and the same on the other side. So we're going to put lights going downwards. But these lights, because they're made of aluminium, obviously they can't be in contact with any form of copper-based anti-fouling paint. So we taped off the areas, cleaned it all up, and we're actually using a same stuff we used on the sail drives. It's an epoxy base called Super Slick. Super Slick. It's a really good product. And we're doing those areas, so we'll put the lights directly in the middle. That'll be a decent spread between any form of copper and the aluminium. So following the instructions, and I mix too much. Do you want to paint anything else? Can I paint you?
No.
Yeah. So as you saw yesterday, we put the super slimy slick stuff, which is really literally nothing sticks to it. I've had to sand the other side, I'll show you in a minute. Anyway, I've used the template for the lights, so 3 screw holes and then a 1/4 inch for the wire, and then this one pretty much, you can countersink it, but it pretty much goes all the way through. Spontaneous haven't got very thick hulls.
He's drilling holes in my boat. That's a big hole.
1/2 inch. It's just a hole.
Little bit of an update from yesterday's. We finished the underwater lights.
5200 has cured nicely overnight.
Nice.
I think I want you, babe, to just cover the lens with tape.
Yeah.
And then we'll mix up some more of that. What was it called? Super slick, super slime?
The
Something that was
epoxy
called?
base.
The epoxy base one. And we'll redo that whole square, including the aluminium on here, because we picked up a lot of growth.
Yeah.
Last season, didn't we, on the water, just on the aluminium part.
Can you say aluminium again?
Aluminium. Not aluminum, aluminium.
Okay, so I know it's been a while. We haven't taken any sticky notes off for the past like 2.5, 3 weeks nearly. But we are getting very close to taking a couple off. So, underwater lights, done. Davy's been working on fairing the sides, so that should be nearly finished. Then it'll just be topside paint, window, one more coat of bottom paint, the hard top, and engine service. And when it comes to engine service, we can do that when we're back in the water. We just have to remember to put oil back in the sail drives before we try and drive the boat anywhere. So we're starting to get some primer over top of where the fairing was that we did yesterday. So top tip with this Total Fair from Total Boat, when it says sandable within 3 hours, sand it in 3 hours. Do not wait overnight. Do not wait longer than that. Otherwise it like dries like concrete. In 3 hours. Why am I so out of breath? After about 3 hours, it's quite easy to sand and it's very easy to work with. What do you think?
I reckon a little bit of that is environmental conditions. So it might be 3 hours for us, which is pretty much what it says on the can. But for different people, different temperatures, humidities, all that sort of stuff. So basically the tip I'm saying of the day with the Total Fair is keep an eye on it. You can tell with your fingernails when it's ready to sand, just by giving it a feel and to tell that it has hardened off. And also just giving it a little test go with a bit of sandpaper. If it's not gumming up the sandpaper, it really is ready to go. But definitely do not leave it overnight. I've done that once and it put me off the product and I didn't use it again for a little while. Until we got to the sides, but then that was just purely it is epoxy based, so once it's got to a certain point it don't want to be sanded.
Concrete.
Yeah,
but look at this, war wounds on Barefoot. Are you gonna stand there all the time?
oh, it's way off. Fun and games, guys. Trying to line up this hard top. Nothing's really lining up. Looks like things have changed shape ever so slightly. So yeah, I've got to join these two together, bolt them up, and the lips is way off. You can't really see it now because we've jacked it up as much as we can.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get any more than that. I think I'm going to have to bolt this bugger together, and fingers crossed. Lots of bolts. Lots and lots.
Well, how many bolts did we take out of it?
A lot.
A lot. So as we were putting it out there, we did.
That's right, you're never going to see that. There's a piece of conduit that's going to get, which we haven't bought yet. That needs to go over that anyway. That's where we can hide cables and hide the bolts and all that stuff.
And then we got
a lot closer.
Yeah.
It's about 1/2 inch better. And then we've still got all these that don't actually physically fit yet. Which I don't understand why, because it definitely has not changed shape by 5 centimeters. No way in the world.
No, and like those ones up there. Well, that wood's kind of pushing up there,
Yeah, the
but
wood's
still.
holding it up because I was trying to get this joint straight. Alright, let's bolt it together and see what happens. Can you put some pressure on this? Just pull it. Keep pressure on it.
Yeah. So.
Just, I don't care about the camera.
Fun and games.
Huh?
Fun and games, trying to bolt together the hardtop. So we've just realized as we've gone to do this.
Keep pressure, but not too much to let go to me. There.
We've just realized as we were attempting to do this process Oi. The bolt holes in the stainless steel aren't quite big enough.
Alright guys, a little bit of a spoiler alert. So we're filming in Fort Pierce. Seems to be, we got a bit of a corrupt SD card, so we lost a tiny little bit of footage here where we explained the final procedure of bolting this thing together. So you might notice from around us we are in the Bahamas, and it's so nice. Anyway, back to the hardtop. So what we did in the end, you know, it was a little bit misfitting. So what we did in the end, we called in, what's his name? Well, Joey. We called in Joey to give us a hand because we were actually doing the assembly together. I was just trying to do it when he wasn't there. And between the two of us, it was just literally, there is some flexibility obviously in the hardtop, but just doing it, Erica and myself, we couldn't manage to do it. So by lining everything up, using some jacks and some blocks, we actually managed to pull everything back into place, and it's actually gone together nice and solid, and everything's in line. Once we got all the bolts in, everything sort of tensioned itself into place. So this is the hardtop, it is up.
We still haven't bought that conduit.
We still haven't put a piece of conduit. I'm thinking about making a strip of conduit to go there. Okay, so she's looking fantastic. So stay tuned. Next week, this boat's going in the water.
Well, obviously we're in the water.
So stay tuned for next week's video as we get this boat splashed.
I don't know if it's just this angle, but my eyes look really green today. Look at them. Whoa. Start going a little bit crazy when you're on the hard this long.